Hi everybody, welcome. Tammy from Homesteading in the City with Tammy. Today, as you can see, we're in the garden. It is a beautiful day here, and I just wanted to show and share with you guys what I do to get my garden prepared for planting. So if that is something that interests you, stick around. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. For those of you who have been here from the beginning, I appreciate you coming by each week and watching the new videos that I put out. For those of you who might be your first time seeing my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content. And for those of you who have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It does benefit me by you subscribing to my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's get started with showing you what I do for my garden. For those of you who have been watching my videos in the fall or last year, I struggled for the last 4 or 5 years. I struggled with weeds in my garden really bad. I wasn't able to keep up with them. My harvest was really low because I was not able to get enough keep the weeds under control, and the vegetables really suffered. So I did some searching online and through YouTube channels, and a lot of people really raved about that contractor grade landscape fabric that you have to burn holes in with a torch, and then you leave it down, and it allows the ground to cover for the weeds and kills the weeds basically. Well, I tried that last year and it really worked well for me. And I showed you what my ground looked like after I took the weed fabric off. It was really good. I mean, I had a few weeds here and there, some of those really tough weeds that are just gonna grow through anything. You know, I had those, but as far as all of the extra weeds, I did not have them. So I will show you what the ground looked like. But also, during my research, they told me that you should pull your landscape fabric up and allow your ground to recover over the winter. So that was what I tried. That's what I did. I pulled the landscape fabric up. But for years I have been putting mulched grass and leaves all over my garden to help weed control, which does help. But as soon as you take it off and the sun gets to that earth, it starts encouraging the growth of the weeds to grow again. So the weed fabric helped tremendously to keep that down. So usually I would just rake it all off and put them into barrels and go from there. This year I wanted to try something a little bit different, because with the weed fabric on all summer, I just thought I really wanted to keep the leaves and grass mulched underneath the weed fabric so that it could help replenish the earth that was under the weed fabric. So I was going to take my leaf blower that actually also is a vacuum, and it mulches the leaves into smaller pieces. So I was going to take that and mulch all of my leaves into like a powder and put that over the whole ground, and then put the weed fabric over that. But that actually died. Actually, it didn't really die. It still works, but every time you turn it on, it gives you a shock. So there's something wrong with that. So I'm not using it because I don't need to die from being shocked from a leaf blower. So I decided I would just do what I normally do and just pull them all off, take them to the compost pile, and get rid of them. Hopefully over the summer I will be able to find one and get another one and be able to do that again next year. But I really wanted to leave those mulch leaves and stuff underneath the weed fabric and let them finish breaking down and turn into soil under there, which would give me enough of replenishment of my soil, although my soil does look really well. So let me show you what I've done so far. I've gotten some of the weed fabric down, and I still have some of the leaves that I have to get pulled up so that I can put some more weed fabric down. So let me show you what I've got going on. Okay, so as of right now, this is the section of that I have done. I have my pots there, of course, with the dirt still in them. And these bigger pots here, I've got an onion that wintered over and is coming up. But the dirt looks pretty good inside them, pretty clean. I'm going to add some more dirt to them because it did break down a little bit more over the winter, which is okay. My blueberry plants are really full of buds. I can so you can see those. They are just loaded with buds. So I'm hoping, again, that will mean I'm gonna get that many blueberries, because I got quite a few blueberries off of these 2 little blueberry bushes. The strawberries are just starting to pop their heads through all of the mulch and leaves that I put on them that they say to do. Gonna get, as soon as I get them growing up, I'll be able to put my cover over them and keep that little chipmunk, because I know there's probably another one that's gonna want all of my strawberries. Keep them off of that. My strawberry tower, not sure, the bottom ones look okay, but I'm not sure the ones growing up of there did okay. But that's okay. I mean, I had quite a few strawberries out of that, and they'll be on the bottom, and I'll just try to maybe train them up when they start growing. I'll pull those sprouts up so that they can climb up the trellis, if I can say what I need, climb up the trellis pot instead of climbing down. But that's where I'm at. So I've got quite a bit of the weed fabric done, put back down, same places that I had before, but my ground was really, when I took the leaves off of it, and I'll rake a section here and show you in a minute, but my rhubarb is doing really well. That is coming along really well there. I got 3 different spots of that, sprigs of that coming, so that wintered over nicely. My oregano is starting to come back in both of those, and so are my raspberry bushes. They actually are taking off. I was having a hard time with these raspberry bushes, but in November, one of them took off, and it had a ton of raspberries on it. Well, it got cold, and I just left them on there, and all those seeds started raspberry plants. So I've got a lot of little raspberry plants growing through here, which is good, which is what I needed. And then my blackberry bushes that I have, my thornless blackberry, they're doing okay. They're all growing pretty good. So I've got those also. Now this is the mound of leaves that I still have to remove. I've been raking it gradually over from the other side, picking up some and pulling it over. But this is the last of the leaves that I have one more strip to put down. And then this strip over here where these pots are, I'm going to use that spot there, because those pots will go on my deck for my canna plants. I have those to put into pots again this year. But all of the square pots, some of them will grow, will also go on the deck as well with other things in them, some peppers and different things like that. But I'm going to put some herbs into the bigger pots instead of having them in the ground. But that section where those pots are, I didn't have weed fabric for that section last year. So what I'm going to do with that section, I'm going to leave it free, and I'm going to put my radishes, which do really well in the ground for me, and my beets, which do really well in the ground for me. And then I will just have buckets or the pots in the rest of the spots, and I can just pull out all of the weeds that are going to be around any of that. So that's where I'm at with that. So I will show you, I will rake this up and get this into a barrel, and then I will show you what the ground looks like after having it covered with, because this is what it looks like when it's covered. I can get myself out of the picture there, my shadow out of the picture. It's really flat to the ground there. You know, you can see the pile of leaves there, but this is where I laid it down, and it's actually broke down even more on the ground. So it's not really thick. It's probably only a 1/2 inch thick right now all over everything, but it was almost 3 inches thick when I laid it down there in the fall. We had a lot of leaves in here. So it's actually doing pretty good. But I will rake this up and get it in a barrel, and then I'll show you what it looks like before I put the last section of weed fabric down. So this is what the ground looks like after I've gotten all the leaves off of it. Pretty good. There's one weed, and that weed, it's got a pretty deep root, and until I actually get the full root, it's going to keep coming back. Doesn't matter how much coverage I put on it. I believe that one came through the weed fabric last year. Still trying to dig it out and get the whole full root, but it'll take a couple of times of trying to get it out before I completely get it out. But yeah, this is what the rest of my garden looked like after I removed all of the leaves and the grass that was over the summer, or over the winter. And as you can tell, I'm out of the shadow. Hope you can see how black that is there. When you dig into it a little bit, I raked a little bit up of it, and I was able to, you see how dark it is. So it actually is pretty good soil. But that's, I'm just going to put my weed fabric down now, because I don't want to leave it open to the elements, because it'll encourage the growth of all the weeds under there. So I want to keep it black again and try to discourage the growth of all of those weeds. So I'm going to get the weed fabric down, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's down. It's not going to look any different than what it did last year. Actually, I might not even show you, but once it's down, I'll have that done, and I'm able to start planting. We're a little early yet in the season to plant here, but this is like the middle of April that I'm filming this. By the end of April, 1st of May, I'm able to get some of my vegetables in the ground and in pots. I'm hoping to be able to go to the plant store and possibly get some lettuce starters and put lettuce in these 2 big pots here. It'll keep it warm because of the sides of the pot are warm. I'm hoping it'll allow it to grow and germinate pretty quickly. So that's what I think I'm going to put in those this year, is lettuce. And then just the plane going over, and then just turn around and put herbs, and maybe even, I did well with carrots in these pots here, and maybe I'll do 3 or 4 pots of carrots. I don't know, I got to see what I want to put into things, but that's where I'm at with that. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you. So the other thing I ended up doing before we went on vacation, I ended up setting up my rain barrels again so that they would start collecting the spring water while we were gone. It was warm enough here that it wasn't going to freeze, so I knew I was able to collect the water and it wasn't going to be a big deal. So I hooked up all of my rain barrels to start collecting water. I have 4 full ones on the back of the garage here, and the other ones are half because that's how low I drained them last year. The ones on the side of the garage, looks like they're all full. Yep, those 3 are all completely full. But I wanted to do a shout out to one of my subscribers who lives local to me. Where he works, they have these white barrels that they get water in. And he messaged me and asked me if I'd be interested in having some more rain barrels. And I absolutely jumped on the option because I love to. I need to hook more into the corner there, because that one has the one side of the garage on it and it only has 3 barrels. Where this has the other side of the garage and it has 8 barrels. So I needed to put more barrels onto this side over here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get those 4 barrels hooked up to this side of the garage and be able to collect even more rainwater. So I'm not going to say the person's name. You know who you are if you're watching this video. I appreciate it. It was wonderful that you reached out to give them to me, and I totally appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me get the weed fabric down and I'll show you what it looks like. So there's the garden with the weed fabric all down. I'm ready for planting at this point in time. The pots are already there, just have to get a little bit more soil. And again, like I said, this ground underneath the pots, I do have some weed fabric, so what is not going to be an actual use for garden, I will put some weed fabric. It's cheaper weed fabric, but I will put 2 or 3 layers of it down to just try to hold down the weeds coming from the other side. But that's where I'm at with my garden all ready to get planting, waiting for it to definitely be warm enough in the evenings to be able to get things planted. Well guys, that is it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you might have learned something from this video. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye.